before you hit that checkout button on your new toja-grid purchase, you probably want to know, will this thing last? Is it in fact one of the best shading options available? Well, today we're going to find out. 1 year later, how's this thing holding up? One of these was used for a full year, and one of these hasn't been used at all. And I'm trying to determine which one is which. And so far, I'm not sure which one is which. Okay, scratch that. Now I'm sure. As I'm moving this, a little bit of the debris is coming off from last year, so I can tell. And I can see there's a slight difference in the amount of shine, and a little bit of difference in terms of the gray. The three big enemies for this system: UV light, corrosion, and then problems with the wood. Let's look at all of these in turn and decide if this is a satisfactory product. Can you tell which one has been out in the weather for a year? And you may be surprised to find out it's this one right here. I can see a slight difference in how shiny this one is, and this one's a little more dull in terms of gray color. This one hasn't been touched by weather. The stretch is still minimal. In fact, you would expect it to be minimal because it's been stretched for a full year. The clips still work just fine. There's no sign of wearing on the straps, which is nice. You can't see it maybe, but there's an umbrella back there. We spent $1,000 on that umbrella. And after 1 year, it wasn't just that it faded, but that it faded unevenly and it was ugly. We didn't want to use it because it was so ugly. Here, the fading is minimal. You can see the stretching from the fabric being pulled in heavy winds. It gets a bit of a contour to it, whereas this side is perfectly flat. The clipping system feels great on both of them. None of this is coming apart. None of this is frayed. I'm trying to tell if there's a different color. I really don't see much of a different color, as if the UV light was eating away at it. Seems great. Still clips like the other one. Wonderful. You know the product weathered pretty well when I can't tell which side was facing up. Now I think it's this side that was facing up. It is very difficult to tell, but I think I can see more perforations in the one that's been out for a year versus the one that's brand new. And it's just in the middle, and that would just be a natural product of pulling at those fibers. My conclusion is only minor color change, minor structural change, certainly nothing fraying, nothing to write home about. UV light test, passed. I get a lot of questions about whether this thing shakes, and the short answer is yes. Quite a bit. 4 inches, 3 or 4 inches with just minor pressure, but it stops after that. So you want to keep it off your house so you're not hitting your house. And even though I have mine bolted to my deck on one side, there's still quite a bit of movement, and that's going to happen because your wood is always going to shrink. It's always going to dry out. That's just part of the expectation, but it's not really annoying to us. It doesn't cause any structural failure. It still works. Another question I get all the time is, how do I attach this to the deck? And I've leg bolted, so it's a long bolt, it's a thicker bolt, and it goes right through the plastic of the composite, and it goes right into the frame of the deck. Your framing joist members are probably going to be, if it's a composite deck, 1 foot apart, 12 inches apart, which means you're not going to get all 4 of these holes into some meat. It's just not going to work. You're going to get 2, hopefully, and if you can't get 2, you're probably going to have to reframe underneath. because this is a 12 by 12 kite and it will fly if it's not bolted down. Once we've passed the corrosion test, the UV test, of course, then we have to worry about the wood. Is this warping? Is it cracking? Is it something that's going to last? In my case, I use cedars. That's very expensive given what it does, but it works. It's structurally sound. This hasn't warped at all. This hasn't cracked at all. It's faded. This is traditional pressure treated. This is actually from 10 years ago. This is kind of the green stuff. And you can see, if you look at my previous video, how much this is faded, but it's still not green. It still looks so much better than some of the other products available. But most importantly, it's maintained its structure all year long through harsh Canadian winters and extreme Canadian summers.